Welcome to Heal to Heal with E. James podcast. On this podcast, my guest and I will discuss topics and ways to help us to heal in every area of our lives. I believe that everyone can live a life that is happy, healthy, and whole. So I'm on a mission to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill. Deal with your problem, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get to it. Hey guys, real quick, before we jump into the episode, I need you to do the 3 S's for me. What is that? First of all, I need you to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss an episode of our podcast. Number 2, I need you to share it with your family and friends. Don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone else. Lastly, I need you to say something. Leave us a comment. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know what you want to see from us, what you like, what you don't like. We are open to your suggestions. We want to know everything that you want to let us know about the podcast. All right. Now, get back to the episode. All right. Welcome to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. I am your host, Ernest James, and I believe that everyone can and should live a life that is whole, healed, and healthy. Therefore, I'm on a mission to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill, to deal with your problems, to heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Thank you guys once again for tuning in to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. If you haven't already, make sure that you follow our podcast on all of our social media platforms. And also make sure you guys are checking us out at our YouTube channel, which is the Deal to Heal Podcasting Network. Again, that's the Deal to Heal Podcasting Network, where you will find not only the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast, but you will also find the Girl Dad Discussions podcast. Both of those podcasts are there. So make sure you are checking us out again at the Deal to Heal Podcasting Network on YouTube. So today we're going to jump right into this thing. Today, just like any other day, we are blessed with the guest, Miss Shawnee Thomas. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am well. First of all, I want to say thank you for being on the podcast, because you could have been anywhere else with anyone else.
Right.
But you're here with me and my listeners, and we definitely appreciate it. So we're going to jump right into this thing. Do me a favor. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what it is that you do.
Okay, so I am first and foremost a mom. I grew up by a single mom with 8 other siblings. We grew up on the south side of Chicago, and my father's deceased. But as a child, I'll say that I wanted to become a teacher and journalist, but my mother took me to where her brother lived. He was homeless. He resided under a refrigerator box under a bridge downtown in Chicago. Mm-hmm. So that changed my whole outlook on what I wanted to be when I grew up. Around 19, I started writing songs, and I came across a couple of people that actually liked me, liked my voice. So that built my confidence in that area. So that's where I started writing at. That's where I basically started to develop who I was and what I really wanted to do with my life. It took a while, but it's manifesting now. So Who am I? Resilient, assertive, compassionate. That's how I would describe myself.
Yeah. I love it. Definitely some similarities. I myself also is from a 9-sibling household. 9 of us as well, me being the oldest of the boys, the 4 boys, and then I have 5 sisters. And yeah, so definitely resonate with that. Let's talk a little bit about your music before that, because I have purchased one of yours. I think it's your brother's CD, but there's definitely one of my favorite songs, which is one of the songs that you guys do together, which is Free. Definitely one of mine. I keep that one on repeat. But tell us a little bit about, you mentioned about starting the writing. Tell us a little bit about that journey, how that has been for you, and what's going on in that area with your music right now.
Okay, so I did write free. Um, Everybody loves free, by the way. But I wrote it and I came to him with it because I had stopped singing completely. And he had been trying to get me to get back on it, like really trying to motivate me. But I'm like, no, I'm too old. But one day I sat in a car, I was going through something, particularly with the church, right? I'm gonna be
Mhm.
transparent. I sat in my car and I had the beat already. I gotten it from a producer. And I just started writing. And I brought it to him and he was like, I really like it. So he wrote his verse and he recorded it where he lived. I recorded it where I lived and we put it together.
Yeah.
So that was the beginning. After that, I came out with God Didn't Intend and then a couple of more songs. So I have an EP album, which includes those songs that I just named,
Mhm.
coming out in November. And then me and Will have another song called God Knows coming out in 2 days,
Mhm.
November 10th,
Yeah.
October 10th. October, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and I'm looking forward to that. Like I said, that definitely, and I've went down a whole rabbit hole once I went to Will's website and kind of watching his videos and his music and stuff. And so I'm just like binge watching all his videos and stuff.
yeah.
So I'm very proud of you guys, man, for stepping out there and doing what you're doing. I definitely
Thank you.
um, am supportive. I definitely, if you've watched any of my stuff or been on any of my pages, I share everybody's stuff. So I'm very supportive of everyone, and looking forward to the projects that you have, coming out.
Yeah.
But I want to transition a little bit because you started talking about, a little bit, because one of the things that you do now is you have your own nonprofit, and I definitely want to, talk about that. But I think you kind of mentioned the origins of it when you talked about, going to see your uncle, who was under the bridge. Because so tell us a little bit more about that experience and how did that even come to be that okay, y'all went on that trip. You know what I'm saying? Was it just like random, or it was like, what, like how did that even come? And then what did that experience do to you personally?
Well, my uncle, his name was Lonzel Tate. If you visit my website, we have a whole foundation on behalf of him where we serve as homeless veterans because he was a veteran, a homeless veteran. I knew him my entire childhood, but I had no idea where he lived. I just knew that he would come to my mom's house for a couple of days and leave. So one day, I was a mother's girl, so she would pretty much take me with her everywhere. And this particular day, she was like, "I'm going to see your uncle." I had no idea where that was. So we get out the car and we're walking, and we walk up to a box that they had flipped upside down and like carved a door in. And when we opened it, they were lying. Him and some more people were lying on the floor, like with newspapers over them. And I had to be around 6 or 7, but I never forgot that experience before. It was 8 of us, and we didn't have everything, but seeing that, helped me to develop into a more compassionate, loving person as I got older. That memory never left my mind at all. So I always knew I wanted to have a nonprofit. And it was in 2020, my supervisor at the time, Gwendolyn McMiller, she set me aside and was like, "What do you want to do with your life? Besides, you have degrees, you're working here, but what do you really want to do?" And when I told her, she was like, "Let's do it." So she kind of mentored me for about a year or two
Mhm.
and helped me get everything together. And here I am.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And definitely, I know we talked a little bit about before we start recording, just a little bit about our backstories and even some of the similarities that we have. And I always say it's amazing how our upbringing and our experiences that we have as children carve us out as adults,
Definitely.
and there are some experiences that mold us into the people that we would like to be, And so, you know, like I said, also coming from a household with nine siblings, even when I think about it, it's like nine siblings. That means our parents would have been having a birthday every month pretty much for that, And one of the things that my mom did, she was like, what, this getting too much. So we started having one birthday party a year. You know what I mean? And we
Right.
would just have for everybody. And we still do that. We still do that even now. We'll get together and just have one big, family party with all of us. But as though there are things that happen, in our childhood, and mostly in our childhood, that mold us into the people that we are to be, and then put those little glimpse of what our purpose is in our lives, which leads us, to what we do. And so now, you mentioned about actually getting started with the nonprofit, and I think recently you guys were a part of a I think it was the thing at the Pastor Hannah's church. I think I seen some pictures with you guys. Just did an event. So talk to us a little bit about what you do with the nonprofit,
Hmm.
and talk us a little bit about that event also.
So that event was a marketplace. What you saw it was just like a networking event where we pretty much got to know other businesses and introduced ourselves to other businesses. So I work a lot with New Life because they have the people, and it's easier, to give, in that capacity. So um, what I started off doing was on foot taking food, to different places in Chicago where people were living on the streets or in tents. That's where we started. And then it eventually evolved into us really being able to give back, food, clothing, resources for shelter. Um, Even, there have been people that have inboxed me saying, I don't have anywhere to stay. We even give to people like that, cash apping, different amounts of money so that people can have places to live. So we're pretty broad, willing to help any and everybody. There aren't really any restrictions in the way that I develop my business because the only restriction it really is the Lunzel Tape Foundation. That one is strictly for homeless veterans. But other than that, my goal is to get these people off the street. I'm going to always go that avenue, right? So I created a program called Landed. And what Landed is for people that want to turn over a new leaf, get housing, those that never got their GED, this is your opportunity to do it. We'll get you placed in a home. We'll help you develop your resume. We'll get you a makeover so that you can have the right appearance at your interview. We'll interview prep you. We have counseling services. Just help you apply for different things throughout the state so you can get up on your feet. So what I'm working on now is a mental health program because what I want to do is I want to be able to reach those that are um, have more severe cases of mental health issues. I don't think it's enough uh, resources out there for them. So I'm working with my board members to develop a program that can really, really help people to get their mental health in order. So that's the next project that I'm working on.
Yeah, yeah. I love it. I love it. I know that when years ago I had a vision that I wanted to do to start a program called Beat the Street, right?
Hmm.
Where that I go and find these people that need help that's maybe on the street, and
Yeah,
just do as much as I can to help them get on their feet. Um, and it's still a thought. It's still a thought. Maybe one day I will be able to do it, but that's has always been one of my things, to be able to reach out and just take someone who really wants help and say, okay, what all do you need? And try to meet every need that I can to help them to get back on their feet, whether it be,
right.
like you said, going back to school and things of that nature. So I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah, and they
So
really can't do that without getting the mental health that they need, because there are some really severe cases out there that, you have to work through what's going on in your mind before you can actually believe in yourself enough to, you know, join a 12-week program to get on your feet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
we're trying to really address the deep rooted cause of the reason why people are saying, no, I just want food. I just want something to wear and go back out there like my uncle was doing.
Yeah. 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 And I think that that's definitely a space to look into, because even as myself with different organizations that I'm connected to here in Chicago as well, we have went out and given food and even asked, some of the people like, okay, what can we do to help you?
Right.
And I was finna say unfortunate, but I'm not gonna say unfortunate because it's their decision. But there are some that just like, no, I'm good.
Right.
Whether they just got used to their situation, or
Hmm.
maybe they've lost hope and don't want to put their hope into another person, and then it doesn't come through. But
Yeah.
for whatever reason, but there are some that just like, no, I'm good here. Just if you bring me some food, just something to eat, I'm good. But when you start talking to them about, well, what about getting back into society and doing this and that, they're like, no, I don't want it. And a lot of that, I believe, do mental health does play a part in that, of and sometimes, like I said, it may just be a loss of hope,
Yeah.
in some experiences.
Yeah. Fear plays a big part too. You know, they don't want to be disappointed again or end up where they are again, or, just not believing in themselves, not wanting to work, or not feeling like they have what it takes. They're comfortable. A lot of people are comfortable. And that's why we're really trying to develop an outreach program, to where we can reach each individual differently and kind of will them in.
Yeah. And I think especially now in the climate that we're in now, because one of the things that I've seen coming for a while, is that, especially even here in Chicago, but I own in some of the other larger cities too, they're starting the I don't even know what they call it, but where they try to clean up the different areas or whatever. So they're literally like moving the homeless out of the way. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And
Yeah.
there's even been videos where they're like, hey, either you go to the shelter or you go to jail. You know what I mean? And then they were literally like taking these people's possessions
Yeah.
and tossing them. You know what I mean? And I'm like, just the inhumane treatment of another individual, number one,
Yeah.
which even goes to show that even those of us who look like we got it all together need some training, because how you treat
Absolutely.
someone that you feel like you don't need, says something about you. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? And so, but I think that now, especially now in this climate that we are in, it's even more important for us to get those resources to be able to help those who may find themselves in a transition and need the help that they need. So yeah, I'm happy for the work that you guys are doing. In the near future, right? In the near future, what is something that you guys got coming up? With that, you guys got anything coming up, or well, let's start there. With the nonprofit itself, you guys got anything coming up like within the next couple months that we should be looking out for?
Yeah. We're actually meeting today to kind of come up with some new ideas for Thanksgiving and Christmas. I really want to go into the lower income areas, maybe kindergarten through second grade, and try to develop something throughout the day to feed the families, where the families can come into the school or even take groceries home to cook for the holiday. That's my idea for Thanksgiving. And the
Mhm.
same with Christmas. I kind of want to give back to the younger kids that may not be getting anything, you know,
Right. Yeah.
and their parents. So we're going to try to come up with something within the next couple of weeks that is outside of the box.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
not the
Good.
same
Good.
old thing. So it's just
Yeah.
going to be Chicago Recovery Community for the next a couple of events. I won't be partnering with anyone. So
Okay.
That's what we have in mind.
Yeah. But even with that, maybe like have you guys connected with Toys for Tots?
We have not.
That would be something that would be good for you guys, especially coming into the Christmas season, to be able to connect with them, to have some things. But yeah, I love it. I love it. And just listen to what you just said just brought another memory back to my mind. Right. Again, going back to that household with the 9 kids.
Yeah.
My parents, my mom and dad, they made things happen around the holidays. Um,
Hmm.
there was one particular holiday where my family still talk about, which was the first Christmas that we actually didn't get anything for Christmas. And so every year, my mom would always give us that speech, like, me and your dad ain't have no money this year, so
Hmm.
Christmas is gonna be short. Like, and we would have that same spiel every Christmas, and then we'll come, and then they would have a, whole thing. But
Hmm.
this particular Christmas was different because it was the first Christmas that we actually spent away from home. Because everybody, especially as kids, you wake up Christmas Day and you run downstairs. That's the whole thing. But when
Right.
you spend Christmas away from home, they're like, okay, that was different, first of all. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, we're not going to be at home on Christmas. That's weird. So, but then Christmas Day, later in the day, when we did go home, my mom told everybody stop in the kitchen. Like we come in the front door, she let everybody stay in the kitchen until I get into it. I come in the house, and
Hmm.
so we all came in, and she met us in the kitchen, and she, was talking to us, and she's like, I know I tell y'all every year that we didn't have it, but like this year we really didn't have it. You know what I'm saying? So we like, oh, yeah, okay, mama, finish with it so we
Right.
can burn it, right? So we literally, she was like, we went and then in the room where our Christmas tree was, and there literally was nothing there, you
Wow.
know. And to come back in there in the kitchen and talk to my mom, and you could see the tears in her face as far
Wow.
as being a parent and not being able to
Hmm.
provide, you know. But it was those memories and those things that makes you more compassionate as a person. Like
Absolutely.
I talked to you about, before we started recording, about foster care, which I've never technically been in foster care, but my family has been in positions where we have had to stay with other people, and we have had to, someone literally will have to help us to, get through the day or whatever. And so now as an adult, I've pretty much had somebody stay with me probably every year since I've been an adult, to helping
Right.
someone get on their feet, because I know what that journey feels like, and so that's why
Right.
I'm even so passionate, and supportive of the work that you guys are doing, because I know it's needed, and my dad being a veteran, and even some of
Wow.
his friends and people of that nature, and
Yeah.
when you start doing the work and meeting different people, you're able to see like, okay,
Yeah.
this needs to be addressed. This is a problem. And so I'm glad that you guys not only seen that it was a problem, but then started to do some work to make a difference with it. I love it. Before we get out of here, I want you to leave us with definitely your social media handles and things of that nature, where we can find you. But I want you to leave us with a word of advice or inspiration, or however you feel, right? Have you feel to kind of express, whatever message that you want to leave us with, a message of hope, or something of that nature. So I'll give you a couple seconds to think about that before we get out. To my listeners, thank you guys once again for tuning in to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. Make sure you guys are checking us out on our website, which is the Deal to Heal with E. James. I mean, not the dealhealfulfill.org website, which is our main website for the company. You can find more information about us. Also, make sure you guys go to ernestjamesspeakslife.com in order to see about me coming out to be a speaker at your school or organization, or even to lead some workshops. And we have a lot of new workshops that's coming up this year. So make sure you guys are following us on our social media platforms and things of that nature, so you guys can take part in those workshops. Also, ebooks by ejames.com. That is where I host all of my ebooks that I've written. We have several ebooks, including one called Males from Males to Men, which is a ebook for young boys transitioning into those later teen years. And we have one called the Four Core or the Core Four, which is the four core values that every daughter should get from her father. And we actually talk about that book on the Girl Dad Discussions podcast, where I talk to other girl dads like myself about the relationship of the daddy daughter relationship in order to combat the narrative of the absent father and the fatherless daughter. But you guys can go to ebooks by ejames.com in order to check out those ebooks. Also, we have Deal to Heal Teas. Put some inspiration in your situation. We're an inspirational tea and be inspired all day. That is our tagline. You can go to Deal, the number two, Heal Tees, Deal to Heal Tees to check out our inspirational t-shirt lines, which include our podcast merch, which is our t-shirts with our podcast logos on it. There's one for the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast, as well as one for the Girl Dad Discussions podcast. So that's Deal to Heal Tees. Make sure you guys go there and check that out. Last but not least, over the last couple of years, I've been blessed to be a part of an organization called the Forgiveness Mission. And what we do, we have free virtual workshops bi-monthly, speaking about everything surrounding forgiveness, forgiveness of self, forgiveness of others, forgiveness of the world, because we believe that forgiveness is a missing aspect in a lot of our lives, which could help to heal a lot of the situations that we go through. So whenever you're listening to this, either one just ended or there's one coming up. So you guys can go to forgivenessmission.com to sign up for our next forgiveness workshop. The workshops are absolutely free, but the information is priceless. So make sure you guys go to forgivenessmission.com to sign up for our next free virtual workshop. That being that, that being said, I want to say thank you so much for being on again. I really appreciate you coming on, and I appreciate you sharing your story and the work that you do. And I want you to have the last word. So the floor is yours.
Okay, so if I was to give any advice, it would really be to just turn your pain into a plan. Um, like I said earlier, I wanted to be a teacher and a journalist. Um, and I feel like I'm really doing all of that now. I really am teaching. I really am using that, trying to use every gift that I have to be meaningful to someone else or impactful to someone else's life. Um, I have a book in process, so that dream is coming alive. It's a manifestation book for kids where I could reach them where they are, you know, kind of give kids what I never had. So that's in the process. Also, if you want to develop a non-for-profit, my advice would be to basically volunteer, seek out mentorship, get around people that will hold you accountable, some people that believe in your dream just as much as you do. Um, Also, get into your community, the population, start researching the homeless population and identifying the gaps that exist, in your community, how you can be impactful or even helpful, in that area. Um, you can find my music on all streaming platforms. I have videos on YouTube. My direct page for Facebook and Instagram is Shawnee Shappell, ShauneeShappell. And my website for Chicago Recovery Community is chicagorecoverycommunityinc.org. You can get in contact with us if you want to volunteer, donate, or even just get any more information. We're
All
available.
right. All right, all right. We can't end it no better than that. To my listeners, thank you guys for tuning in to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast, where our mission is to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill. To deal with your problems, to heal from the pain, and to fulfill your purpose. Until next time, you guys be blessed. Hey guys, if you're enjoying this podcast, then I know you enjoy the Girl Dad Discussion podcast. I'm your host, Ernest James. And I believe the relationship between a daughter and her father is one of the most important relationships a young lady can have. And therefore, my mission is to promote the daddy-daughter relationship by sharing the voices of girl dads to the world. So check out our podcast on every platform where podcasts can be listened to. And if you want to watch the podcast, check us out on our YouTube channel. Again, that's the Girl Dad Discussions podcast with your host, Ernest James. Thanks for listening to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. Remember to listen, like, subscribe, and share. This episode has been brought to you by Deal to Heal Teas. Put some inspiration in your situation. Wear an inspirational tea and be inspired all day. Let's go to dealtohealteas.myshopify.com. Remember, our mission is to help you to deal, heal, and fulfill. Deal with your problem, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Thanks for listening.